Hi everyone, Plastic EP here from Melbourne, Australia. And I want to give a big warm welcome to Mark Wright from Atlanta, Georgia. How are you today, Mark?
I'm great, Plastic. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. I'll tell you what, Mark, I've seen your collection. So the people out there have got no idea what you're about to show them. And we're going to start off with your Munsters collection in a moment. But just tell me, how long did it take to collect your Munsters collection?
It's taken quite a few years. It all started back when I guess I was about 30 years old. I'll be 50 this year. My wife asked me, "What did you want? What's one item you want from your birthday that you had as a kid?" And I told her, a ventriloquist doll that I used to have, and so that's what started me back in collecting all my stuff I had as a kid. So so it's been about 20 years of collection now.
That's amazing. You know what? Because I'm into monkey stuff, but I started when I was 8, 9 years old. For you to start at the age of 30, that's unbelievable.
Well, I had all this stuff when I was a kid, but around 12 or 13 or whatever, I guess my mom and dad threw it all in the trash. They're just like, he's too old for this stuff. Let's toss it. So since I was 30 years old, I've just been slowly acquiring it all back because I missed it.
That's good. You know why? Because you don't have much money when you're 8 or 9 years old, but you got more when you're 30. So that's why it's okay. And listen, they're going to be in for a big surprise when you finish the Munster collection, because then we're going to go into all your other stuff. So, Mark, show everyone around the world what you've got, starting off with the Munsters. Let's go for it.
Okay, we'll do it now.
Right.
Okay, so I've got this. Do you need me to tell you about any of it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, tell us all as you go through it.
Okay, so this is an old book from the '60s. There, that's part of the original Munsters when they came out. And then I've got this this hand puppet. This was one of the things I'm most proud to own is this, just because it's from 1964. And this is the most recent thing I've owned, which is a Funko Pop of Herman as the race car driver. There's some Migos. There's some old figures, some plastic figures here, and this is some stuff on into the 70s or whatever and 80s. But this is the original lunchbox of the Munsters.
I love that.
Let's see. Let me see if I can get all the shadow there. See there, and then there's a model kit that's still sealed. I haven't built yet. Then we go up here, and this is a well, you know what? I correct myself. This is one of the most recent things I've acquired, because this is a 3D printed Lily Munster that I hand painted. A friend of mine printed it out for me, and then I hand painted it or whatever.
Fantastic. Something different.
And then this is Barbie dolls. Barbie came out with a set of Herman and Lily, and they also came out with a Gomez and Morticia from the Addams Family, but I wasn't into the Addams Family as much as the Munsters, so I got that one. These are some plush dolls of the Munsters here.
When did they come out?
Those came out in the early 90s, I think, or late 80s. I can't remember exactly. But I think that's how old they are. I do have see, there's some PVC figures up there.
Yep.
A neat story about those. I actually bought those PVC figures from the kid who stuck his tongue to the pole in the movie A Christmas Story. I don't know if you remember him, Scott Schwartz. Do you remember that movie, A Christmas Story?
Yeah, I do. I also remember Dumb and Dumber, where the guy stuck his tongue on the pole too.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is something my dad gave me a while back. It's an autograph of Al Lewis, who played Grandpa Munster.
That's great.
And then there's one my dad gave me also when he met Yvonne DiCarlo. It's an autograph of her. And then this is I used to have a T-shirt and embroidery shop in my town here, and I actually contacted Butch Patrick, and I saw that he was going to be in the area, and him and his wife, they stopped by, were nice enough to stop by and sign a bunch of stuff for me at my shop.
He's one of the nicest guys. I've met him, and also really we belong to the official Munsters fan page. That's amazing, that one that he runs.
Yes, and this is a portrait I drew of him, and he then signed it or whatever, and I gave him one of the prints that I made for my artwork. And then there's a couple of die-cast cars. Let's see, there's one of the Munsters. This is kind of dark up here because it's in the corner.
Yeah, sure. Nice.
And there's a Herman Munster Halloween mask. And I never realized this because the show was in black and white, you know, and because when I got this mask in, I actually complained to him. I said, hey, his eyes are two different colors. And they said, well, that's how he was on the TV show. It was just in black and white. And I did the research, and they said, yeah, he's supposed to have one green eye and one brown eye because he was made from several people. And I was like, okay. And this is actually this isn't an official Munsters thing, but that's definitely Yvonne DiCarlo as Lily Munster. This is and anybody in the United States right now, I don't know, maybe where you're at too, they can find this at the dollar store for $1. And it's a life-size jointed figure it's just made of paper, and they sell it at the dollar store.
That's amazing. We don't have dollar stores in Australia. We've got $2 stores, and they don't have it.
Inflation over there in Australia, I guess, right? And then that's a grandpa figure there. But also have these. This is
go through those. Let's have a look at each one if you can. Just put it down somewhere and just lift it up one by one. That's fine.
This is my comic book collection. That's the first issue, and I had Butch sign it for me when he came to my shop that day.
Yeah, Mark, just hold it up in the air. Each one, hold it up straight so we can see it.
Okay.
That's it. That's better. That's it.
All right.
Forward. Beautiful.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And then there's one there.
That's great.
I don't have all of them yet. That's one of the things I'm still working on right now. I'm trying to get all of it. I think they only made 16 issues.
Yeah, Mark, I got the one where he got Herman blowing the tire.
I'm sorry?
I got the comic where Herman's blowing the tire with his mouth.
Oh yeah. I got that one. It's in the stack here. It's this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that.
Blowing the tire, yeah. And then that's the last one I have there.
That's great.
But that's, you know, I have some other stuff too. Let me show you. Well, let me show you this here. This is my original artwork here. See, flip this around.
Let's have a look.
Okay, so there's the original artwork I did of Butch Patrick.
That's really good.
Thank you. And then there's the print from that artwork, because I always scan my artwork in and I turn it into prints to sell, so I can sell the prints.
I love the color.
Thank you. And then this is one I just finished last night. It's of Lily, Yvonne DiCarlo.
That's really good too.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been drawing for quite a while. I set up at conventions. I set up at conventions every now and then, and comic book conventions, and people buy my artwork and stuff. So I try to do mostly pop culture stuff I grew up with, you know, because there's a lot of older guys there. So
that's fantastic. All right, let's carry on with the collection. What are we going to look at now?
Okay, let's see here. Let me get these comics up so I don't step on them. Yeah. All right, so we got a little bit of everything because I collect all the stuff I had as a kid, basically.
Yeah, let's have a look.
This is some of the 70s Marvel Spider-Man and Hulk stuff that I had as a kid. That's an old lunchbox. That's a model kit back there. There's that's a Mego. That's an original Mego doll.
What year was that?
That was 74, I think, is when that one came out.
That's a ripper.
I'm sorry?
That's a beauty.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's it's one of the harder to find ones because he has metal pins in his hand. They later used plastic, and they changed his costume several times on this figure. But anyway, that's a Halloween costume, still new in the box. And then there's one of the Hulk. There's a Hulk lunchbox. I had that when I was a kid.
Yeah, what year was that, you reckon? 70?
That was probably about 70. I think that's 78 or 79. It was because that Hulk lunchbox came out when the TV show was popular. And then that's a what they call a read and hear book and record set. It's a comic book that you read while it plays all the action and stuff on a record.
Can you just pull that one out? Just grab that and just pull it forward.
Yeah.
Just take it out from there and hold it in your hand. That's it, so we can see it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. There's the back of it there.
That's very nice.
Yeah. And then there's an old card game that was popular. That was early 70s. That was probably 75, 76. And then these, I used to love these, man. I used to have a lot of these actually. They're called slide puzzles, and each piece can be jumbled up, and it's always missing the one piece there because that was there was a ring there. So you take the ring out so that you can slide it, but you don't need the ring. And this is a Viewmaster Reels from Spider-Man. And this, believe it or not, it looks like a watch, and you would wear it like a watch, but it's a transistor radio from the 70s.
That's cool.
And as a kid, I had this on my wrist, and that thing was pretty heavy back then because you got your radio knobs there, the AM. And, there was no FM back then. Well, I mean, there was FM, but these transistors only had AM on it, and you put the battery in the buckle. They only made the Captain America, and they made a Spider-Man one, but I always had the Captain America over there. And see, there's an old dinner tray. Let's see, let me get this out of the way. This is a thing. This is an old dinner tray I used to have when I was a kid. I used to sit in front of the TV sometimes when I was allowed to eat dinner on. And then here's some board games. That's an original Hulk board game. This was a popular TV show I used to love called the Monster Squad. Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, and then that's original Spider-Man board game. And this is a collection of stamps that they released of old Marvel characters in the United States just a few years ago. So I got me a whole sheet of those. But I collect all kind of stuff. Like here's a lot of board games I had as a kid. Although this is a mousetrap game from the 60s. This is the very first mousetrap game.
Yeah, I remember it. Came out in the 60s.
Yeah, yep. And then you got the Mad Magazine game, Uncle Wiggily, the Muppet Show, Payday. This is something from the 60s here that some people might recognize.
Yeah, I do. This is Viewmaster. You pull it out.
Yeah, this is what we had before there was the YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. And you used to put the slides through the circle.
Yes. Yeah, you used to put I'll open it up for you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I haven't seen
There's
one of those.
Projector, and these are all the film strips that you just slide through there and project them onto the wall.
Exactly. That's great.
And then, but I also got into the Cross Super Show stuff. So here's
let's go through this stuff slowly.
Yeah. So this is a Cross Lunchbox. Wonder Bug was my favorite show, and then I also loved Electra Woman and Dino Girl. I mean, even as a kid, when I saw beauty, I just saw beauty. So that was a thing there. But
so that's two show. Is that two TV shows on either side of the lunchbox? Is it?
Yeah, it's Cross Super as well. It's the Wonder Bug.
Yeah.
The Electra Woman and Dino Girl.
Okay.
Then you had the other one here, which is Dr. Shrinker, which was on the bottom.
Yeah.
See here, and then you have Captain Cool and the Kongs.
That's great.
And then there's the thermos. The thermoses are actually harder to find than the lunchboxes are.
Yeah, pull that out.
Yeah. So this is and it has all the shows that are featured on the lunchbox.
Yeah, I love it.
I was just glad that the thermos didn't smell like spoiled milk, because that was the case in most of these. And then this is a Electra Woman. They didn't make Dino Girl, but this is Electra Woman action figure they made in the early 2000s. I guess they did a resurgence on this.
Now I want to see that Bugaloos Lunchbox. If you can pull it out and go through it slowly.
Yeah, this lunchbox I was happy to find. I got it very cheap because the guy didn't know what the Bugaloos was. He was a younger guy, so he didn't recognize it as anything. So he didn't think it was worth much. But to me, it was worth a lot. But I'm just glad he sold it for what he did, because I wouldn't be able to get it otherwise. The only thing about this is it's just kind of, it's got your rust on it here and there, but it's missing the handle. I need the handle. I've been trying to find a handle for it, and it needs the thermos. And you see that's why I stopped making these out of metal, because they ended up rusting.
Yeah.
And that wasn't good to carry food in.
But I got to tell you, the Bugaloos, I love the Bugaloos, and also the Bugaloos was a very big show here in Australia. Just so you know.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Because if I'm not mistaken, well, no, it was filmed in California, I think. But I think like Carolyn Ellis and most of the people they're from London,
yeah,
or something like. But anyway, Carolyn Ellis is on Facebook. She's very nice. Talked to her several times.
Hello, Carolyn, from both of us. We're big fans.
Yes, we are. And then of course there's your HR Puff and stuff. That was very popular then too. But then I also have a lot of stuff here. Like here's Evel Knievel stunt cycle.
Yep.
This is it's a Rat Fink stuff.
Yeah, I've got to see the Rat Fink stuff. That's really rare now.
Yeah. This one's called Hot Dogger Hanging 10. It was a surfer.
So, Mark, can I ask you, you bought that and you had to paint those, or they were already painted?
Some of these were, if they were painted, I cleaned them up and repainted them. Like all the model kits you see are my painting that I did to it. Like this one right here. And when it comes to these wrapping things, they're very detailed. They're very detailed when they have the. But this one was neat because his arm moved. So
sure.
And,
I've never seen them.
Yeah, that one's called Surf Fink, and then this right here was made by the Marks Company. They kind of they did the Weirdos.
Yeah.
And this one's called I think it's called Daddy or Nutty Daddy or something like that. But they're called Nutty Mads, and they were like Weirdos. In fact, he's trying to drive a car.
That's
but anyway,
fantastic.
but this figure actually here it comes as one piece. It's not a model,
Okay.
and it was originally, and it was really, the whole thing was molded in this green color here. So to get all the details and stuff, I had to hand paint it all.
You did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm an artist by trade. I draw. At a young age, I decided I wanted to be able to draw everything I wanted to look at. So.
Let's look at the Donny Osmond doll. Can we pull him out?
Yeah. Let's see here. There's Donnie. I found him really cheap at a flea market, actually.
You haven't got Marie, have you?
No, I don't have Marie. I just, I saw him there, and I'm not really, I remember watching the Donnie and Marie show when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't really collect them, but I mean, this doll was sitting on this flea market table for $5, and I was like, you know what? I can't leave that sitting there for $5. I got to buy that. Just, he's got the Bionic Woman's tennis shoes on, so he's got the wrong shoes, but at least he's got some shoes on, and he's missing his microphone. He's supposed to have a microphone in his hand. But other than that,
fantastic.
He's pretty complete, and he's got them big white teeth, So.
Hey, hold it there for a minute.
Yeah.
And they called it puppy love. I thought you'd like that.
Yeah. I actually used to have that 45 as a kid, and
of course you did.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And this is a game from the 70s. It was popular with the Jaws. It's a Jaws game. The whole thing is still in the box, and the idea was to be able to fish out all of the trash inside Jaws' mouth without his mouth snapping on you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And then there's some old monster books there. There's a Creature from the Black Lagoon action figure up there.
Yep.
This is what they call a clock, and there's an original Ben Cooper Frankenstein monster mask.
That's mint condition. What year was that, you reckon?
I think that was around 72, actually.
Amazing. It's brand new.
Yeah, it's really nice shape. And then this is one I did of I painted this of the bride. This came out in the early 90s by Horizon Models.
Great.
Can you hear me okay, Plastic?
Oh, I hear you perfect.
Okay, great. Okay, just want to make sure I'm not too far from the camera here.
No, we're moving along really nicely.
That's a painting I did. I don't do much painting, but that's a painting I did of the Wolfman. That's my favorite character.
That's a beauty.
That's a Janet Leigh autograph. She was, head of the lead actress in Psycho.
Fantastic.
John Benefield, he's the victim there from the creature from the Black Lagoon. Then you got David Hedison, played the Fly, the original.
Yep.
Then there's Christopher Lee as Dracula.
And he's signed as well. Everyone's signed, is that right?
Yeah, these are all autographs.
That's fantastic. Where did you get those from? Fairs?
Well, I got most of these from my dad. He would give them to me as birthday and Christmas presents, just as a bonus, So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's because he's met a lot of these people himself. This is a drawing I did of Wednesday and Pugsley Adams, and I actually had Lisa Loring. She signed her collar for me as she played Wednesday.
That's fantastic.
And here's the picture of her and me holding that, and that's her. That's her there.
That's great.
Yeah. And then there's me and my wife with Gomez. He signed that.
John Aston, isn't it?
John Aston, yeah. That's John
Aston. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Aston. It's Sean Aston's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the picture we're holding up that he signed for me. John Aston there. And then you have
later life.
Then I have a little that's probably a newer one there. That's Gunnar Hansen. He played the original Texas Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
He signed that one there.
I got to see Elvira as well.
Yeah, I'll show you Elvira. There's a Bela Lugosi Dracula Migo. Those came out just a few years ago, actually, and that's a rarity that they actually gave permission to use Lugosi's name and image for the doll. Here's Elvira.
She's my favorite. And that was your dad's, or did you meet her?
Actually, when I got this autograph, me and my dad met her. Let me show you another one. Here it is. It's up here. That's the one she made for me too. It says "Yours cruelly, Elvira." Anyway,
that's killer. Those two are fantastic.
Me and my dad, we actually met Elvira at a haunted house that she had in Tucker, Georgia. Here, and it was called Elvira's Nightmare Haunted House, and it was only open for 1 year. But during that 1 year, she was here. She did an appearance at the opening, and she was signing autographs for free. So me and my dad, we took a bunch of stuff to have her sign it or whatever. And then the following weekend, I got to meet Alice Cooper, because it turned out her husband at the time, I think, was Alice Cooper's manager. And so Alice Cooper was at her haunted house also. So we got to meet him, which was a bonus. So
Mark, I'm going to ask you, this haunted house she set up, what was it? Is that a museum?
I'm sorry?
The haunted house that she set up, what was that? Is that a restaurant or a museum? What is it?
Oh, it was a haunted attraction. You would actually, you would go in there and you would see Elvira sitting at a table first, and she would sign all your stuff for you. And then you would continue to go through there, and there would be all kind of scare rooms set up, and you would just go through it just like a regular old haunted house or whatever.
Okay.
It's just a scare track. Yeah. But me and my dad, we had so much stuff we had her sign that after she signed, we just wanted to get the hell out of there, so we just wanted to leave. And so we ended up getting lost in there trying to find our way out without going through the rest of the house. And we ended up behind the people who were waiting to scare people. So they were like, "What are y'all doing? Get out of here! Y'all got to go." so we had to leave really quick. But yeah,
that's a great story.
Yeah, and here's some albums I have there.
Please, let's go through them slowly.
All right. So that's Peter Criss. Me and my wife met him.
What year was that you met him?
We just met him. I guess that was about 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Did you
talk? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what? We had to wait in line. I guess we waited in line for about an hour and a half to meet him because there were so many people. But he actually spent a lot of time talking to everybody. He didn't want it to be one of those where he just signs it and you leave. He actually talked to you and told you a little bit about what's going on with him. And very, very nice guy. I highly recommend meeting him if you ever get a chance. He's very nice. And here's Scandal. This is Patty Smythe of Scandal. This was the first famous person I've ever met. I don't know if you know who Patty Smythe is, but she ended up marrying John McEnroe, the famous tennis player. But that's her there. I had such a crush on her when I was a teenager, if you can imagine. But I had the whole band sign that when we met them. And this is the band Rat. I met the lead singer Stephen Piercy back in 2004. Had him sign my first album and their third album here. And that's him in the middle there, Stephen there with a cigarette. But he was doing little dive bar little shows or whatever, and I was the only one waiting for him after the show to have him sign stuff and talk to him. So he spent, he talked to me for about an hour and a half, I guess, just telling me all kind of stuff, which was really nice. And here's somebody else I definitely recommend meeting if you ever get a chance, and that's Lita Ford from the Runaways. And I don't know, you probably remember the Runaways. They were very popular in the 70s.
Yeah, I know the Runaways. Which one? Joan Jett.
Yeah, Joan Jett.
Yeah, second from the left.
There's Cherie Curry.
Yep.
She's a chainsaw artist now. And then there's Lita Ford there. But then she signed it there. And
fantastic.
This was her first album. I gave her first album to sign. She signed that for me also. And she said this album, she was surprised. She said this is the first time she had signed this album for anybody because it was hard to find because they banned it because of all the blood on the guitar. It shows a dismemberment of a guitar with blood on it, so they banned that, and she had to reshoot that album cover. And then this is another 80s hair band, Cinderella. This is me with each one of them, meeting them. Oh, and there I am with Lita Ford, talking to her about the album. And then there's me and my wife with Peter Criss when we met him.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I got to meet. That's me with Stan Lee there.
Let's see.
Let's see here. It's creating a shadow because of my phone in front of it.
No, that's all right. We can see it. No problem.
Okay, sorry.
It's coming in clear.
And then as a kid, I was really big into Dukes of Hazzard, so it was great being able to meet people like Ben Jones here. He played Cooter. And there he is there. There's Ben Jones. And there's John Schneider. I met him. An interesting story about John Schneider is in 2008, he brought the Dukes of Hazzard Festival, it's called Dukes Fest, to Atlanta, Georgia. And I actually worked for him and his wife, helped promoting it at their down at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which was really great. And there's Catherine Bach, Daisy Duke. I met her. Very nice. He's a very nice person. And then Sonny Schroyer, he played Enos on the show.
That's great.
And this is a This is a huge canvas wrapped print here I had made of the original Creature from the Black Lagoon poster. And I took it, before I had it mounted, I took it to Riku Browning and had him autograph it. He played the creature in all the movies, but just the underwater scenes, because he holds the world record for being able to hold his breath for the longest, and he was an excellent swimmer. He was also in the show Sea Hunt. I don't know if you remember that or not from the 60s.
Yeah, I do. That was with Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, with Jeff Bridges. Yeah. He was in that with Jeff Bridges.
That was big down here in Australia.
Yeah. And I was born in 1970, so that's why you're seeing all these hairband stuff, because I was big into meeting all the bands that I grew up listening to. This is the one that's signed by Dee Snider, Twisted Sister.
Yep.
And then this is my all-time favorite movie of all time is American Graffiti, and that was George Lucas's film he did to help raise the money he needed to make Star Wars. And so the money he made off of this is what he used to budget Star Wars. But anyway, I'm sorry?
I like how you got him to sign across the door of the car. That looks fantastic.
Yeah, I had John Milner. This is Paul LeMat, the actor that played John Milner. This was he was my favorite one, the character in the show, just because he was just so cool. But whenever I get an autograph, I usually try and get him to write a quote on there instead of putting my name on it. So I had him write a quote from the movie, which says, "Rock and roll's been going downhill since Buddy Holly died." And he wrote all that on there for me, which was nice of him. And he's on Facebook too. He's pretty prominent on Facebook. John Milner is. He might be somebody you might want to talk to. I mean, he's very easy to talk to. He responds to everybody.
Thank you.
And of course, with American Graffiti being my favorite movie, Happy Days was probably one of my favorite TV shows. So, there's a Fonzie paper doll.
Fantastic.
That's from the 70s. That's an old record with Fonzie, but it's all 50s hits. He's not singing on any of this. And let's see here. That's a Viewmaster. It's a Viewmaster set. See if I can get a better picture of that there.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, and a lot of these, if they're not taken care of, the film that you're actually that are on the reels, they end up going red or orangish. So you have to really take care of those and keep them out of direct sunlight. And this is a model kit of the Fonz's bike. It's still sealed in the box there.
Mike, do you know there's a model kit of him with a monkey mobile, and they go, it's Fonzie's car. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they call it Fonzie's Dream Machine, but it's actually the monkey. It's actually the monkey mobile.
That's right.
I was like, you know what? Fonz never drove a car ever in any of the episodes. So, and talking to Henry Winkler, because I got to meet him years ago too, and he's actually he took a picture of me with this doll here I have. And when I met him, he told me, he said, I said, I've never driven a motorcycle. He said, except that one time in the opening scene. He said I just never had any use for a motorcycle. So I thought that was strange. And this is a board game. And this is a set of trading cards. They had these this came out in the 70s originally. That's the complete set of the trading cards. And if you if you flip them all over, you can put them together, and it makes a big, huge puzzle of the Fonz.
Yeah, they sold it with the wax wrappers, and they had the bubble gum inside, like the monkeys cards and all the other cards, Kiss cards.
Oh yeah. And here's some more autographs here. This is the band Extreme, and this is Fats Domino.
That's a beauty.
I used to love Fats Domino stuff. Blueberry Hill, Let's see. There's a band called White Lion. That's an actress. Her name's Aria Giovanni. I used to use her as a model for all of my female superheroes that I would draw. And here's a rare picture of Boris Karloff as Frankenstein. And it's a rare picture of him because he's holding a cigarette. You know, Frankenstein holding a cigarette is not a common. And that's an old Halloween costume mask of Alf and Snow White. And that's an autograph of Judy Jetson, the woman Janet. What's her name? Janet Waldo, I think her name's Janet Waldo. Anyway, her name. She was the actress that did the voice for her.
That's great.
And this, I don't know if you remember these or whatever. If y'all had these in Australia, they were called magic slates. They were called magic slates. Yeah, you could draw. I mean, me and my brother would sit in the back seat of my dad's car all the time, just drawing all day long. And
who's on the top there? Who's the face there on that magic thing?
Oh, up here. Oh, okay. That's this is another part of my Cross Super Show collection. This is Captain Cool and the Cons. Okay,
great.
And and believe it or not, this is actually a really hard one to find because they didn't make as many of that. And you know, as if you couldn't tell, I'm digging the Munsters, so that's an old Sesame Street Monsters album.
That's great.
And then there's the kid I was telling you about earlier that bought that Munsters figures from that Scott Schwartz with his tongue stuck to the pole from the movie Christmas Story. That's Peter Billingsley there. There I am with Lita Ford. And that's when I met Alice Cooper at that haunted house.
Fantastic.
And there's some more autographs. It's the lead singer from Rad. I told you I brought him a bunch. That's their first single. It's another one of their singles. And then I actually had a friend of mine because I always wanted my own action figure of myself. So I had a friend of mine. He made me my own action figure of me, which is
great.
Which was nice of him. He just made that for me. I didn't even ask him to do it. He just did it. That's Cinderella. That's some monographs of Cinderella in there. That's the original. That's the original 45 for the original theme song from Batman, the TV show.
I've never seen that.
And these are some of the smallest Hot Wheels you'll probably find. These are called Zowies, and they used to give these out for free at gas stations in the 70s, in the early 70s. And my uncle, he used to work at a gas station, and he would just bring us these home all the time, just so we could just destroy them and play with them in the dirt and stuff. But they're very collectible right now, and I think, like one, you'll pay anywhere between $25 to $35 for just one of these, and they're so much smaller than a regular Hot Wheel. Like let's see here, there's an original 55 Chevy Hot Wheel, and then there's the smaller ones, Zowies.
Right.
But anyway, that's pretty much my collection. Other than I got some other stuff and elsewhere in my house or whatever, but it's not contained in this room. So,
Mark, I got to tell you, your collection was fantastic, and I'm sure everyone else out there really loved the collection, and yourself for showing it to us. And I got to thank you so much because it's one of the best that I've seen, and I really like the variety.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's taken me a long time to set all this stuff up. Like me and my wife, we just moved into the house we're in now about 2.5 years ago, and man, setting this room up by itself was just it was a task. It really was.
I know. Anyway, on behalf of Plastic EP, and I want to thank Mark again. Take us out, Mark, and say goodbye to everyone. I just got to tell you, a fantastic collection worth looking at. It's just great.
I appreciate it. Thank you again, Plastic, and for having me here. And I hope to see everybody soon. And I had a great time. Showing it to you.
It was my pleasure. Thanks again, Mark.
Thank you. You have a good day. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.